Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for taking some time to join us today. We are really excited to meet you and to share more of the MGT story, teach you how to use the platform, and also answer any questions that you have all along the way. Please feel welcome to use the chat feature. Should be right towards the bottom middle of your screen. It's a little text box that says chat right underneath it. You can use that to ask us any questions, and we'll handle those as we go along. And then as we wrap up the presentation for you this afternoon, we'll go back through and make sure we've got all the questions answered. Now, before I jump too far into my song and dance, I'd like to introduce you to Jason Johnson. And Jason, why don't you take it away?
Thanks, Dan. So run distribution here at MGT. So excited to be seeing all of you today and be partnered with Dan, who has been amazing from the very beginning with us. We've been growing this company for a couple years now, and we're getting more and more agents coming in, more and more stuff all the time. We're adding more to our appetite. Many of you may be joining us from the Oregon Mutual partnership that it is that we recently launched. There's all kinds of cool stuff going on at MGT. So I'm really excited to have you all here because the heart of what it is that Dan and I do is work with agents, and this is the best chance to do it. We get a chance to talk to you directly, which is great. And Dan, we are on the same wavelength. Hold on. I'm trying to
Dun 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 dun.
I wore it today too. We dressed
Amazing.
the same for our agents
Not even
today. You guys are getting
coordinated.
a special treat.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's getting a little warm here in Virginia, or I would probably have the exact same quarter zip on as well.
Yeah, Jamie, hang out with us, write some, and we're happy to send some merch your way.
Oh
So
yeah, we got
yeah,
some extra shirts. So, as we get started, give all the other folks who are not Gold Star students, like those of you who've joined us, another minute or so to get signed in. And while we wait for the stragglers to get logged in, really curious if anyone on the call has any hobbies that you like to do. Like, what do you do for fun? When you're not, quoting binding small business insurance, which we all know is the most fun thing to do. There's other things in life too, and I'm curious what it is that you enjoy.
are we gonna talk about ours?
Yeah, you go first.
All right. I have y'all. If you follow us on social media at all, you may have seen this little friend that watches me from on top of my desk. I like to do all kinds of arts and crafts. Let me pull off the blur so you can meet Amy. Um, Amy was designed by AI and then crocheted by hand by me. And I don't have it out on me right now, but I like to do all kinds of digital art stuff. All of it is Amy inspired, which y'all, I'm pretty sure makes me a huge nerd that I make art off of the company that I work at, but that's how much we love it.
That's awesome. For my part, I love to do outdoor activities. I live right by a river, and so we'll go on hikes and walks around the river. I like to paddleboard during the summer, which I'm really excited to be able to start doing again. And I've also really been getting into different types of art, and lately really into pottery, which has been super fun. You can see a couple examples kind of behind my shoulder here. Jamie, I'm just curious, where do you live? What beaches do you like to go to? I'm super lucky here in Richmond to be about 2 hours from the mountains and the beach, so I get to kind of scratch both of those itches when they come up. Oh, love it. Love it. DC is one of my favorite places to go visit.
Well, and it sounds like Jamie's actually out of SoCal now, which is fantastic timing.
I'll let
Yeah,
I'll let
yeah.
you share the good news there.
Yeah, so we soft launch in Southern California. So your timing is perfect, Jamie. And like we mentioned earlier, I'm not sure if you joined us from the Oregon Mutual partnerships that we're so proud to be working beside now, or if you're organic to us here at MGT. But either way, we just got into California. So that is all open up and ready for you to start submitting business. Excited to hear what you think too, since we just launched it. Dan's going to talk about this a bit today, but one of the things that's so important to Dan and I both, and the rest of the company as a whole, is what our agents think. We are a carrier. We're not an MGA, which means that we can define what our product looks like. Now, obviously, we have to go through the DOI. We're an admitted product, but we get to take your feedback and actually shape what it is. And since we exclusively sell through the independent agent channel, that means that we're listening. And as we launch our Southern California product, as well as everything else that we do, Jamie, we'd love to hear from you about, hey, this is really great in the market space. I could really use this. And you'll be surprised. You'll see a lot of stuff come from those interactions with us.
Yep. So check that out. You've got some special information that we haven't even announced publicly yet. So that's a little prize for joining the webinar this week.
I like that you made me say it. So now it's my fault when that gets out there.
Well, let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll get this party started. So thank you for joining us. With MGT, the era of Neo Insurance has arrived. Now, you might be asking yourself, what does Neo Insurance mean? And Neo Insurance, I would say you can understand what we're doing in the context of the wider industry. You've got your insurance carriers, and these are great companies, right? We have nothing at all against them. Some of these companies have been around for 400 years now, helping people protect their livelihoods and take risks, helping make sure a bad day doesn't turn into a bad life. And we're excited to kind of carry on that mission. But as these companies have grown, they have not always done that with the idea top of mind of making things fast, easy, and delightful, which is a word we use a lot here. You've also had, over the last several years, different insure techs joining the space. They tend to be MGAs, sometimes MGUs, sometimes fronting companies, wholesalers even. There's a lot of different arrangements. If you boil everything down and kind of break through some of the buzzwords, what they really do is they take a nice layer of technology, put that on top of that kind of legacy carrier experience. And so, as Jason alluded to, they can do great work, but they don't always really have that full control over what their product looks like. They've got to keep somebody else happy in the background. That's where MGT is different. We are the carrier. We stand behind the risks that we underwrite through our platform, and we are building this whole company to fit your needs and make your life easier and help you deliver a delightful experience to your policyholders. Because how often do people walk away from an insurance transaction thinking, wow, that was great? That's what we want to have happen when they work with you.
Well, and I love the way that you said it too, Dan. Like those other companies are worried about keeping somebody else happy, and you framed it so perfectly because what we're worried about doing is making sure that you, the agents, and your insureds are what's kept happy. So that conflict of interest is really something special that it's not so easy to identify immediately off the street, but something special that we get to bring to you.
Oh, some quick points about MGT. We are rated A minus by AM Best, so we've got an excellent financial strength. All of our policies are written on 100% ISO form BOPs. Essentially, that is the forms. They're the most legally tested forms on the market. Anytime you're taking a designation or a licensing class and they're referencing policy language, 99 times out of 100, they're referencing ISO policy language. So between those 2 points, you can feel confident and comfortable that, even if you haven't seen the MGT TV commercials just yet, if there ever is a claim, we'll be there to pay it out, and it'll play out more than likely the way you'd expect it to.
I feel like they should star us if they make a commercial, Dan.
Oh, I'm getting ready. We have built a zero friction process. There are no accords. When you work with us, we will never come back to you and ask you to fill out a 45-page supplemental application. And we've really built this whole process to get around those 3 week long back and forth email chains I know everyone on this call has had to deal with, just to try and get an answer on a submission. In fact, over 80% of our policies have gone from logging in to begin the submission to bound and issued in 10 minutes or less. All quotes through the platform are fully bindable. That's the real power of the tech that we're bringing into the process. It's not setting you up for underwriter review. The idea is you need a quote. We want to get you terms as fast as we can. We've got a wide footprint. This says admitted in 44 states and DC. It's actually 45, thanks to California joining the mix. So you could see this is how on the cutting edge you are. We haven't even updated this intro slide yet. Just a couple quick numbers here. There's a lot of good stuff on your screen. I'm not going to make you all watch me read this to you. But the one that I really like to highlight here is in the fourth quarter of 2025, which is the last quarter that has fully completed that we can go back and measure. We had 100% uptime on our platform. That means 100% of the time somebody needed to run a quote, check the appetite, bind a policy, service it, make a payment, ask a question, reference policy docs. They were not waiting on our technology or on our systems to respond. It was there, it was up, it was ready to go. We were not adding roadblocks and hurdles to the process. Now, I know at this point you're all just thinking, wow, this is amazing. I can't wait to work with you. What can I write? We are writing about 300 classes of small business. I would say keep us in mind for, a lot of those mom and pops you probably drive by on your way into the office. We're a great fit for artists and contractors. We love restaurants. We'll take your offices, professional or medical. We'll do barbershops, beauty parlors, nail salons, bakeries, grocery stores, convenience stores, you name it. There's about 300 classes of business that are eligible. We are focused on small businesses. To us, that means up to 3 million revenues for most risks, up to 5 million revenue for professional and medical offices, 1 to 100 employees, up to 30,000 square feet. That can have a little variance by class, so it's a little bit lower for restaurants, just to keep that in mind. Up to 2 million total insured value in property per location, with up to 4 locations per policy. Gives you a lot more flexibility than you'll typically find in the small business market. And don't think of us only for those most nice, neat, perfect accounts that'll ever hit your desk. I mean, send those our way too. We're going to slam dunk those together. But if you've got a new venture, if you're working with somebody who's had some claims history, nobody's ever asked for a certificate before, so they never got insurance in the first place, coverage lapses, all those situations we could be a good fit for. And really, our tech just sets us up to handle those in a fast, easy way. Typically, when an account does refer, we try and get those turned around same day. And so let me see. I think we got some questions in the chat. Just take a quick look
Just some
here.
really great shout outs. So I've been handling them.
Love
Nothing
it.
to ask live yet. But what we can do real quick as we transition over, because I think you're going to the demo next, or do we
Yep.
have? Okay. So as we transition over to that, oh, you got a little bit more
Oh, wait,
left.
there is a little bit more. I'm just so excited about the demo.
Yeah, well, me too. So please ask any of your questions. We've had a handful of people show up since we first put it in the chat. Ask any of your questions in the chat. We'll get to them live. One of Dan and I's favorite things to do is try to stump each other. And y'all, for the first time ever, I actually got one that he didn't have. So I'm so proud of myself. I feel like I'm on fire. Keep
It did
asking your
happen.
questions.
I've been reading
It
our
can
EPLI
happen.
endorsement feverishly ever since. It's not going to happen again. So I get caught all the time saying, we just write a bop or we just do a bop. But the reality is we do a lot more than just a bop. There are a lot of optional coverages that you can add in. A couple that I'll highlight from this list: professional liability for businesses like barbershops, beauty parlors, nail salons, and photographers. Always a big hit, can really be an impactful coverage difference if they are going without. And also higher non-owned auto. It's another one that we're really happy to be able to offer on most classes. There are some like distributors and wholesalers where it's just not available. It is available for contractors, and it's also available for restaurants that aren't doing any self-delivery, as well as different, you know, all the different office risks, retail classifications, etc. We've also got workers' comp stopgap. Now, it's not the main workers' comp policy. There's a situation that can come up in monopolistic states that I'm not going to dig too far into. But we've got the coverage to meet the requirements in those states. Got mine subsidence coverage in states where that can be a big concern as well.
Yeah, we had a question about the work comp, and y'all, if you write in any of those four states, you're very intimately aware of it, and if you don't, then consider yourself lucky. But stopgap is something just specific to those four states.
We've also got some optional coverages and sublimits built in. Again, I'm not going to go through all of these to point by point. I'll just highlight that when you're quoting in our platform, it is only going to show you the bindable options for all these different sublimits and coverages. So you can always stand behind quotes that you produce through the MGT platform. For restaurants, we do have a coverage enhancement endorsement built out. It's going to add some great coverages for them. They've got access to higher spoilage and contamination limits. If they're doing any valet operations, they can get coverage for damage to customers' autos. Again, that higher non-owned auto endorsement's available to them as well. So a lot of great stuff for restaurants. And then we've also got some special coverage built in for artisan contractors. You can add tools and equipment coverage to cover those miscellaneous tools. In the near future, we are going to be adding scheduled equipment coverage as well to cover some of the bigger equipment they might have. Contractors installation, really, really valuable to get. And, typically when I've worked with contractors, it's often been on a general liability policy. That's going to be a big difference with what we're offering on the BOP, where they've got some of these extra property coverages available to them too, just on one policy, one premium, nice and easy. Now, the moment that you've all been waiting for. So let me go ahead and switch tabs here. Before we jump into the actual platform, I'll show you a really helpful resource on our website. So if you're following along on your other screen, just go to mgtinsurance.com and then click the BOP Appetite tab. You
And
can
and
see
a fun little thing that I always like to suggest people. Sorry, Dan, I feel like I keep
no, go
interrupting your flow.
ahead.
See how many of the little Amy goats you can find. It's our official, unofficial mascot, and she's kind of hidden all over the website in many different places.
And so at this page, you can download our appetite guide. You will see over this year and beyond, our appetite is going to be growing very, very, very fast. So we send out appetite guide PDFs every single day. The reality is 2 months from now, all those are going to be outdated. So bookmark this page. That way you'll always have access to the most current information. And this is my favorite tool that we have because just consider how many person hours get wasted in this industry every day with like, hey, can you write this? And then you work up the submission, you send it in, someone reviews it, and come to find out like one little thing that, probably was top of the line, first page of the application, kicks it out. Amy was built to solve that entire problem. So you can ask all kinds of questions. Can you write a florist, let's just say in Utah? And so Amy is smart enough to understand that, whether or not florist is the specific name of that class of business filed with the NAICS, it's still going to be able to kind of figure out the class code. It can know different states. It can even find different cities. If I was to ask it, can you write a florist in Provo? It would know that's in Utah. Um, you know, let's just say it can also kind of keep like the context of your conversation. So let's say, what if they have 200,000 receipts? And so Amy is going to know, that is like I'm asking another question about that same florist in Utah. So just a really helpful tool. And also it's available to you 24/7, 365. If you're seeing the chat, you may have clicked on the little chat bubble in the bottom right part of your page. Make sure you click into the BOP Appetite tab up at the top of the screen. This little chat box, though, is a fantastic resource to know about as well. This lets you communicate directly with our support team. We're available to you by phone, by email, or through instant message. So, however you like to communicate, we're there to meet you. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
Jamie, we can take a look at that separately.
yeah,
Yeah, let's
but make sure
I'll get you
you're
our
at
contact info and we
.com.
can chat about it.
If you are at mgtinsurance.app.app, that's where we're going to go next. And with that, you'll be taken into the platform. So make sure you're at mgtinsurance.com to access that appetite page. Um, don't worry, I do that all the time and I work here. So in the platform, you've got a lot of different options. You can, most days anyway. Um, you can click into user management, invite new folks to your team, make sure everybody who needs access to MGT has it. You can click into appetite guide, download some appetite information, then you can also click Start New Quote, which is pretty self-explanatory. Over on the left-hand side of the page, you'll see tabs for policies, quotes, and user management. Again, all pretty straightforward here. So let's go ahead and start a quote. And then the very first step in this page is going to be to enter the business name. Now, I like to do something a little bit scary in these demos and open this up to the group. If anybody in the call has a favorite restaurant, a favorite, barbershop, maybe a real estate agent or an accountant or a lawyer who sends you referrals sometimes, let's run a quote for them. And you can kind of see it in action with a real live account because I've got all the demo quotes in my back pocket, but it's just more fun to see something that is really specific to what you're interested in. So let's see, Opa restaurant.
Y'all are letting Jamie steal all the thunder. Jamie, thank you so much
I
for
know.
all of your comments, but the rest of you got to jump in here, or else Jamie's just going to get whatever they want.
I feel like someone might be getting an MGT hat soon.
Yeah, I think so.
So you can see here too how we've used some of the keyword search to really narrow in on that specific business. So let's go ahead and click that. If they have a DBA, we could enter that in if we needed to. Then we'll click continue. So this is where the magic starts. All along the way, we are working with dozens and dozens of different data vendors to find over 3,900 different data points on this specific business. We're going to use that to pre-fill a lot of the answers in this application. You've got the classification. It found that for us. I would say about 95% of the time where I use this, it's accurate. Every once in a while, it'll miss it. And if that's the case, all you have to do is start typing in, maybe it was a contractor, you could type that in. It'll pull up all the different classes. So there is some keyword search built in there. I'm just going to leave it alone though as a restaurant because I think that's probably dead on. Then we'll click business owners policy and continue. And so this is where it's really going to start doing a lot of that kind of deep research of the data. And you'll see in just a minute here how this is going to pre-fill a lot of the questions for us. So quick pause here. Let me just take a quick look at the chat. I don't see any new
Yeah, I'm
questions.
just having fun with the chat, Dan. I'll let you know if we get any questions, or I can get you. Do you want non-insurance ones? Are you a Douglas Adams fan?
Oh,
Every
yes,
every time I want. Okay, all right, Dan. What's the meaning of life, the universe, and everything?
42.
All right. Okay. Cool. Good. We are still on the same page. Same shirt and same mindset all day today, man. I love it. So okay, so while we're waiting for some questions to come in, let's chat about a couple of things. We just recently launched contractors. Well, and here it loads up as soon as I get started. Do you have anything that you want to share about what type of contractor it is that we're looking for?
Yeah, so we're a great fit for subcontractors. Um, We do not accept accounts that are doing a lot of hiring of subcontractors. So, don't probably not worth your time to really try us on general contractors out there. We like single class code operations. So we're really looking for those tradesmen who kind of have found like one type of project they like to work on and they're really good at that. We do accept new ventures. We like to have at least 30,000 minimum payroll. Um, and yeah, that tools and equipment coverage is really, really helpful.
Yeah. So we did get a comment. Jamie said that they could take this into and walk into the restaurant they love that they love them there, which is awesome, Jamie. That's why you're an incredible agent in the first place. But that's why we built this, right? Because you can literally sit down and just type whatever restaurant is next door to your agency, and we can generate all of this for you without you even having to talk to them first. So then you go and you talk to them, you make sure that everything is accurate, just to be sure, and that's why you're the professional in this. And you go back and you make some adjustments if you need to, but we've already got an indication ready for you before you even step foot in the door. So I love that you're thinking that way because that's exactly why we build
Yep.
it this way too.
And I really have worked with an agency that had a brand new agent who was just kind of getting his feet wet as a producer. And he sat down on our platform and quoted, and I'm not kidding here, 40 local businesses through our platform, and then went to each one to have that conversation. So we get you set up to do exactly that. So you can see here it's identified all these details. And, say we do need to update something, you're never locked in to what the algorithms think it should be. So maybe we know they do 10% alcohol sales. All as it's as easy to update as just entering that in. So we'll click continue here, couple more details. And it's identified 40 employees. That could be accurate for a bigger restaurant, but let's just say we know in this case it's 10. Again, you can update that very easily. Now, every once in a while, it'll find that there's special events hosted by that business. We are able to include special events and host liquor liability on the bot. In this case, though, let's say there are no special events. All we have to do is enter 0 here. We'll click continue.
Jamie's
Now,
saying that the information that we got seems pretty accurate too, which is awesome. We're
it
always
is,
glad to
it
hear
is
that.
overall pretty accurate. It's actually kind of spooky sometimes. But
And if and if
it's
it's
good
ever not,
spooky.
yeah, and if it's ever not, reach out. We're constantly improving. But like Dan said, we pull in like 3,500 different data points. So we're doing our best to not just get one or two, but really triangulate where all of this information comes from. But that's really good to hear. We love that feedback.
Yep. And so a lot of times it'll find their sales as well. In this case, it didn't. So let's just go ahead and put in, maybe 1.75 million there. We'll click continue. And so again, it's finding some additional information about this business. You might see this a couple times along the way. And our team, just to give you a little insight to what we're doing behind the scenes, we're working on making this even faster right now. So you spend less time watching it, kind of go get that data, and just really it should be a pretty seamless kind of click through, verify kind of process.
Well, and this is our demo environment. So it tends to we pour all of our resources into the actual production. So the demo environment tends to run a little bit slower.
Yeah. And if someone steps on that kite string connecting it to the servers, then you really got to watch out.
Hey, I just wanted to shout out something that Allison said too while you're moving on. They're a newer agent, so this is an excellent learning experience for them, and I couldn't agree more. This is a great gateway. Having been in the commercial industry for quite some time, I know Dan has as well. I'm still learning things all of the time. Even having been in this for almost 15 years at this point. So going through this process and learning stuff is the perfect way to approach it because it really is just on rails. It gives you the guidance. We help you fill things out, and you know exactly what it is that you need to go and talk to your potential new insureds. And then you've got us here to support you along the way too. So I'm really glad that you called that out. I think that's an excellent use of it.
Absolutely. Yes. And always, always feel welcome to reach out. We love to talk shop. So in this page, we'll answer one or two more questions about that business, and then we can add any additional insureds that we need to add as well. We can't always add these after the fact, after it's bound. So sometimes they will come up midterm, no problem at all. But I do like to recommend if you know they'll need the additional insureds, get those added during the quote process. And that way the premium doesn't change once we have to add those. To add them, super easy. Just select the type of additional insured enter in a couple pieces of information, click continue. Hey, look, it's added. If you click that button one too many times, just click the little trash can icon and that will remove it from the quote. And then we'll click continue. And usually I run these as contents only submissions just to keep it a little faster, a little more streamlined. But we are, in this case, adding the building as well. So you'll really get to see this data lookup do its work. This does all kinds of cool stuff. One of my favorite things that it can do is it actually finds that address on Google Maps, traces out the footprint, and then calculates out the square footage based on what it found. That's something I've had to do by hand. I can't even tell you how many times. And so it's really just taking that kind of like mental strain off your desk so that you can focus on all the other important things that come your way that probably deserve more of your mental bandwidth. So we can scroll down here. You'll see it found the square footage, identify the number of stories, the siding type. We'll enter in a couple more pieces of information just to fill in the blanks here. We'll say, yes, they own it. We could add a mortgagee if we needed to at this point. I'm going to keep it easy and just say they own it outright. Let's go ahead and say constructed in 2020. Roof type is gravel or built up. Roof updated 2020. It's identified they do have automatic sprinkler systems. And then let's give it, let's say, yeah, that looks right. And so it's going to get all that data saved, and then we'll click continue. If we needed to go back and edit any of that information, we could click this little edit icon here. That go right back to the building information section. We need to add any additional locations or any additional buildings. Just click add item and it basically just go through that same process we just looked at. We'll click continue. Opt out of TRIA if we'd like to. In this case, we'll keep it on and then click continue one last time. And now it is going to load our quote. So this is really where the magic's happening. It's taking all that information that we've looked up along the way and that you've entered. It's kind of calculating how out that versus our underwriting appetite. In this case, we got a quote right away. If it ever does refer or decline, it will actually show you the reasons that caused that decision so that you can at least know for the next time or start a conversation with our underwriters so that we can review that account with you. And then from here, all we have to do is scroll down. You'll get kind of high level review of those quoting details. You'll have all the different sublimits and deductibles in here. So you can really tailor this policy to the specific needs and concerns of that applicant. We'll write up to 2 mil, 4 mil general liability coverage. To update that, just select down here your option, and then it will update up here. So let's say we want to add that higher non-owned auto coverage. You'll see up here at the top that premium is going to change. This lets you really go through and kind of weigh out your different options. What's the value versus the cost of this particular coverage? Have those conversations with the applicant. Maybe we want to add in some equipment breakdown as well, $500 deductible. Once we've got all of our changes in place, just click update quote. And now it's going to get those options put into place in the actual quote letter. So that just takes a second to get everything all lined up. From here, you can click download quote if you wanted to download a copy of that quote letter. And then to bind the quote, just click continue to bind. Enter in the applicant's contact information.
And while you're doing that, Dan, Jamie posted something in the chat that I want to chat about really quick. They have the work comp question because they try to get both when they go in, and that's really great feedback, Jamie. So what you're seeing right now is our market entrance in the bot platform, but we are going to be growing those additional lines of business. So hearing what it is that you need in order to help round out your accounts is exactly what we need to hear so that we can prioritize what to build next. So thank you for sharing that.
Yep. And so when you go through that little process, it's actually going to send the applicant an email that they can use to finalize the policy. It's very fast. I already have it in my inbox, believe it or not. And then you can use this along the way, and other folks in your agency who uh, may need to review this information as well have access to this. And so this helps you keep track of what's going on with that payment link and with that potential binder. So just in one quick check, you can get an idea of where we're at. In this case, they've been sent everything, but they haven't actually started to open it and action it. Now, if you're ever working with somebody who is, not the most technologically forward, or maybe they just need a little extra assistance, just click copy share link. And if you'd like to do this over the phone with them, you can do this all from here. I'll just copy and paste that share link into my browser, and then you'll see this is exactly what it's going to look like for anyone who opens that up and wants to go through and complete the policy. Just select annual, quarterly, or monthly terms. It's very transparent. If we select the installment payments, you can click view payment schedule and see exactly how much and when each payment would be due. It's not anything super complicated. If it's quarterly, then just divide by 4. If it's monthly, divide by 12. That's what each installment is. And then they're due regularly at that pace. So we'll select quarterly in this case and click continue. The next step is just a quick e-signature. So this is going to get all of our policy documents loaded up and ready to go for e-signing. We'll give it the legal squiggle. I like to do a little happy face.
While you're going through that, Dan, Jamie had a question about broker fees. Jamie, it's a really good question, and we don't have a spot in our system to facilitate that because it's I forgive me if obviously I work on the carrier side, of the agency side, but I think every state has a little bit of a different regulation when it comes to those things. So we just don't facilitate that in our platform. However, that said, you can run the quote and then put a cover page on it and obviously follow whatever it is that's specific to your jurisdiction. But we don't prevent you from doing that. That's how most agents solve it, is they just add a cover letter over top of the presentation.
And so now that we've got our signatures in, we'll just click sign all. You can also click the sign button to go through line by line and review everything. And then all that's going to get loaded up. You'll see these documents here will be the mutually signed copies. Those will get emailed over automatically to the applicant. You'll get an email to let you know that they completed the e-sign. If we go back here into the platform, you'll see now that this box is checked off. So we've moved one step further in the process. And all that's left is the fun part, collecting payment. So from here, we accept ACH, credit, or debit. There are different transaction fees based on the method of payment and the frequency. So just want to mention that so you can keep that in mind as you go through here. But when you click into each option, it's going to be very transparent and tell you exactly what to expect there. Now, I'll just put in some of my magical demo information here to make this go through. Click complete transaction. And now I've got an invoice number. That account's been bound. And if we go back here, you'll see in just a second, all the policy docs will be available for issuance as well. You as the agent will receive an email about this. We will email the policyholder with a copy of their policy so they can have that for their reference. Everybody at this point has receipts to let us know this transaction occurred. And in just, 10 minutes, we've gone from logging in to begin to policy bound and issued. It always takes a little bit longer with me yapping at you along the way. Luckily for you, that feature is not built into the platform. So when you're here doing it on your own, it's going to be even faster.
Yeah, you also don't have me heckling you the whole time.
I wish that could be built into the platform. So let's jump back in here. And I'll just share a couple accounts that we have found recently that I think illustrate the kinds of risks that can be a really great fit with us. We did an electronics retailer. This is actually a cell phone store in Texas. Electronics retailers, just by the way, are probably our like most successful class from a quote to bind perspective. Generally, if we combine 2 out of 10 quotes, we're pretty happy. Electronics retailers, we tend to bind 4 out of 10. Um, we actually, in this case, replaced a non-renewal with a bound admitted policy, no theft exclusions or sublimits in 9 minutes. We did a convenience store in South Carolina, 1 mil, 2 mil GL, 75,000 in BPP, came out to about $3,500 in premium. And they found significant savings on that quote compared to the incumbent, and it took them 6 entire minutes to complete that. We did a seafood restaurant in Georgia. I like to share this because they have, more substantial property limits here. They had the 1 mil, 2 mil GL. They had 1 mil, 2 mil liquor liability, 1 million in property coverage between the BPP and the building. Came into about $14,800. And they also went through and really tailored all those sublimits, made a lot of adjustments there to make it something a little bit more bespoke for that client. And then I'll leave this slide up for a few minutes in case you want to copy any of this information down. This might be the most important slide of all of them. You have a whole team here at MGT to support you. We really like to live kind of what we're like, kind of our message or our value proposition. We are offering you technology that's going to make your life easier so that you can focus on the human element of business. We do the exact same thing here. So, if you have any questions, need some assistance, here are your main points of contact, and definitely would encourage you to reach out to these folks. Annalise is actually out on vacation right now, so she's going to be in a great mood next week when she gets back. And she's a phenomenal resource for you. You've got our underwriting team contact info here. They do pick up their phones, they do respond to emails. We've got the instant message support available for you as well. We've got a customer support team that's a great resource if you run into any tech issues, need help with an endorsement or processing a cancellation. Then we've got Amy, our appetite guide, who's available to you 24/7, 365.
I have to sneak my name in there too, since you exclude me from it, Dan. And I thought you may find this entertaining. Annalise is actually back tomorrow, but she's already messaging me like excited to dig back in. Y'all, you might think that this is a bit of an exaggeration, but we really do love working with agents so much so that Annalise and I keep trying to kick her out. Like, you're on PTO, get out of here. She just wants to hop in and see what our agents are up to and get back to them. So you've got a support staff here that's really looking out for you.
Yep. And Jason shared his contact information in the chat. So if you ever just want to reach out to him and tell him how awesome I'm doing, please feel welcome to do that anytime. Anytime.
Yeah, those are the easiest ones. I'll take it.
And so, that kind of brings us to the end of the presentation. I hope what we've been able to show you is how easy it can be to quote, bind, issue small commercial insurance policies. And ultimately, our goal is not just to work on the small commercial business, it's really to free up your time, free up your mental bandwidth, give you that time back in the day to do all the other important things that come your way. And so maybe if you're working with, legacy company with a lot of paper applications, you might spend 8 hours working on a quote. Come spend 10 minutes with us and then spend 7.5 hours on the beach.
We Nobody asked your favorite question, Dan, and I'm going to make you go through it because it gives me joy every time. But we did get one last one from Jamie. Is there any marketing material available to us? And the answer is absolutely. We have an amazing marketing department here that has a really cool branding that we've done. That's why I get so excited to tell you that like Amy's hiding in places in our website. She's present in a lot of our materials that we send out. But we do have lots of just individual class guides, appetite guides, etc. So we're happy to get all those to you. They're also available on our website. Yeah, just let us know what you need. And if we don't have it, we'll make it.
And the one question that didn't come up, oh, the website mgtinsurance.com. A lot of folks ask, what does MGT stand for? Today this afternoon, I think it stood for mighty good time. I know I've had one. I hope you have too. I'm going to sign off while you're still chuckling. If you think I did a good job today, jump in and run some quotes. That's how I'll know.
It's been a pleasure, you guys. Thanks, Stan. Thanks,
Thanks,
agents.
everybody. Have a great
We'll see
rest
you
of your
soon.
day.